Well, hi there. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the practice problem set related to factor markets. It's the second one. And this is really just an AP exam problem from a long time ago at this point, involving a perfectly profit maximizing firm in a perfectly competitive widget market. So they're trying to make the most profit and they're perfectly competitive. And it says they assume that they employ a fixed number of employees and they rent machines for a variable number of hours from a perfectly competitive market. So they're kind of telling you right here that we're going to be dealing probably with the market with the variable number of hours because that's the only one where you could change the number of inputs. Using correctly labeled side-by-side graphs of the factor market for machines and the John Lamb Company, so the firm, show the following: the rental price labeled PR in the market and the rental quantity labeled QL for the firm. So for part A, it really is just drawing the graph of perfect competition, which is hard because you have to remember, if they're talking about a perfectly competitive factor market in this case, right, that they're hiring actually from a perfectly competitive factor market. And that's what they want us to do here. They don't want us to do a perfectly competitive product market. There are two differences. There are differences between those two things, right? So we do have a market and a firm. We're not going to use price here. We're going to use R for rent. And then we're going to put Q for just the quantity of machines. And we know that the supply and demand in the market, if it's perfectly competitive, look exactly the same. And we have a dashed line going across, and then we have here. And so the equilibrium rental price, we wanted a label as PR. And then it says the equilibrium rental quantity of machines, which we'll put over on this side in just a second. This is our marginal factor cost. Remember, each additional machine costs us the same amount because we're just kind of renting them from this larger market. And then we have a marginal revenue product that kind of looks like a mirror image of that marginal cost curve. We know that the firm hires the number of machines at MFC equals MRP, which we're going to label as QL. They didn't tell us to put a QM here, so we don't need to put one. We don't need to kind of indicate the wage that the firm is paying, although obviously it would be the same. So if we wanted to, we could put P sub R or something like that. It says assume that the popularity of widgets declines, decreasing the demand for widgets. What will happen? Well, if we know that the demand for widgets go down, then we know that the price is going to fall for widgets. And that means that the marginal revenue product is actually going to decrease as well. Now, the marginal product for the machines isn't going to change. And that's because the marginal product is not based on the value of the product that they're producing, right? The machines are still the same productivity. Now, they don't ask for an explanation here, but I'm writing this anyways because I think it's important that you kind of recognize that the machines are producing the same number of units in this. It's just saying that the value of the product that they're producing is decreasing. And so we'd say MRP goes down because the price decreases for the widgets. And we'd say, and MRP equals the price times the marginal product. And so what we're saying here is that the marginal product is going down. It's going to decrease, not because the machines are making fewer units, but just because the price of the product is less. And so each machine is worth a little bit less to us. And it doesn't actually ask us to graph that on this picture. It didn't ask us to do that, so we're not going to do that. We're going to go on to part C. It says John Lamb is employing the cost minimizing combination. The marginal product of labor is 28, the wage is 14, the marginal product of 60. What's the rental price of a machine? So this one's just about plugging in values. What's the marginal product of labor divided by the wage? And if they are employing the cost minimizing cost of the combination of inputs, then that actually means they're fulfilling this equation. This marginal product of capital over the rental rate equals the marginal product of labor divided by the wage. So we know that this statement is true because they tell us, but now we just need to plug in the values from it. So they said 28 was the marginal product of the last worker, and the wage we paid them was 14. And it said the last machine we employed made 60 units. And so that means the rental rate of a machine is 28 over 14 is the same as 30 over, so is 30. So 60 over 30. Hopefully this helped you going through AP Micro question number 2 from 2010. I'll see you next time.